Before we start, please subscribe. Also, comment where you're watching from. Okay, let's start. Please, I'm begging you, just give me one more chance. I stared at my phone screen, my hands shaking so badly I could barely type. The words blurred through my tears as I tried to compose a text to my best friend Sarah. My cheek was still throbbing from where Derek had shoved me into the wall 30 minutes ago, and I could taste blood in my mouth. This was it. I was finally done. 3 years of walking on eggshells, 3 years of excuses, 3 years of believing him when he said he'd change. But tonight, when he'd wrapped his hand around my throat and lifted me off the ground, something inside me finally broke. Not my spirit, his hold over me. I needed to get out. Now. Tonight. My fingers flew across the keyboard, typing Sarah's number from memory since Derek had gone through my phone last week and deleted half my contacts. He was in the shower now, and I had maybe 10 minutes before he came out. Sarah, it's Emma. New number. I need help. He's getting worse. Can you come get me? I'm scared. I hit send and held my breath, listening to the water running in the bathroom. Come on, Sarah. Please see this. 5 minutes passed. Nothing. The water turned off. Panic clawed at my chest. I typed again, faster this time. Please. I don't know what he'll do this time. I need to leave now. He's going to kill me eventually. I know it. I'm at the apartment. Please hurry. Send. Still nothing. I heard Derek humming in the bathroom. He always hummed after he hurt me, like nothing had happened, like I was the crazy one for being upset. One more text. My hands trembling so violently I had to retype it 3 times. Help me, please. I am begging you. The bathroom door opened. Emma? Who are you texting, baby? That word. Baby. He said it so sweetly, like he hadn't just had his hands around my throat 20 minutes ago. No one, I said, shoving my phone under the couch cushion, just looking at my email. He walked over, water still dripping from his hair, and I forced myself not to flinch. Flinching made it worse. You know I don't like you keeping secrets from me. His voice was soft, but I heard the edge underneath. I always heard it now. My phone buzzed under the cushion. We both froze. I thought you said you weren't texting anyone. His hand shot out and grabbed my arm, his fingers digging into the bruise he'd left there yesterday. Give me the phone. Now. Derek, please. Give me the fucking phone, Emma. He shoved me aside and yanked the cushion up. My phone lit up with a new message and we both saw it at the same time. But it wasn't from Sarah. Who is this? How did you get this number? The response was in English, but there was something clipped about it. Professional. Cold. Derek's face went red. Who the fuck is this? You texting some other guy? No, I don't know who that is. I was trying to text Sarah. I must have... His fist connected with my stomach before I could finish. I doubled over, gasping for air, and he grabbed a handful of my hair. You lying bitch. You're cheating on me? After everything I've done for you? I'm not. I choked out. I swear I don't know. My phone buzzed again. Derek still had it in his hand and he looked down at the screen. His grip on my hair loosened slightly. Answer me. Who is this and what kind of help do you need? Oh, you think you're real smart, don't you? Derek's laugh was vicious. He started typing on my phone. Let's see what your little boyfriend thinks about this. Derek, don't. But he'd already hit send. He threw the phone at me and it bounced off my chest onto the floor. If I find out you're fucking around on me, Emma, I swear to God. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. The look in his eyes said everything. He grabbed his jacket and stormed toward the door. I'm going out. And when I get back, you better have a damn good explanation for who you were really texting. The door slammed behind him and I collapsed onto the floor, my whole body shaking. I grabbed my phone with trembling fingers and looked at what Derek had sent. Mind your own business. Wrong number, asshole. Oh God. Oh God, this was so much worse. I'd texted some random stranger and Derek had just... The phone buzzed in my hand. That wasn't the same person who sent the first messages. Are you in danger? I stared at the screen. How could this person possibly know that? Another message came through before I could respond. The writing style is completely different. The first messages showed fear and desperation. That last one was aggressive and dismissive. Someone else has your phone. Answer me now. Are you in danger? My hands shook as I typed back. Yes. 3 dots appeared immediately, like this person had been waiting for my response. Where are you? I shouldn't answer. I didn't know who this was. For all I knew, this could be someone even more dangerous than Derek. But what did I have to lose at this point? I sent my address. Is the threat still in the location? No, he left, but he's coming back. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except me. I'll be there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? How could anyone get here in 10 minutes? I lived in downtown Seattle and traffic was always, "Who are you?" No response. I pulled myself up from the floor, my stomach still aching from where Derek had hit me. This was insane. I'd just given my address to a complete stranger. But something about those messages, the way this person had immediately understood something was wrong. I locked the front door and the deadbolt, then dragged a chair in front of it for good measure. Not that it would do much good. Derek had a key. My phone said it had been 7 minutes since the stranger's last message. What was I doing? What if this person was worse than Derek? What if I just invited some psychopath to my apartment? But then I touched my throat, felt the tender spots where Derek's fingers had been, and I thought, could it really be any worse? A knock on the door made me jump so hard I nearly dropped my phone. Emma. A man's voice, deep and controlled. Step away from the door. That wasn't a question. It was a command. I backed up, my heart hammering in my chest. The door exploded inward. The chair went flying. The deadbolt tore clean out of the doorframe, and standing in my doorway was the most terrifying man I'd ever seen. He was tall, at least 6'3", with broad shoulders that filled the doorframe. His black hair was slicked back, and he wore a suit that probably cost more than my car. But it was his eyes that made my breath catch. Dark, intense, and currently scanning my apartment like he was cataloging every potential threat. Those eyes landed on me, and I watched them travel from my face down to my throat, my arms, taking in every visible bruise. Something dangerous flickered across his expression. You're Emma. Again, not a question. I nodded, unable to find my voice. He pulled out his phone, an expensive model I didn't recognize, and showed me the screen. It was our text conversation. I'm Kazuki Tanaka. You texted me by mistake. He slipped the phone back into his jacket. Where is he? I don't know. He just left. He was angry. He might be at a bar. Or, when is he coming back? I don't know. He said when he gets back, I need to. I trailed off, suddenly very aware that I was talking to a complete stranger who had just kicked down my door. Kazuki's jaw tightened. Get your things. You have 3 minutes. What? You're not staying here. He checked his watch, an elegant piece that caught the light. He could come back any moment and I don't have time to deal with him and keep you safe at the same time. I can't just leave. I don't even know who you are. He turned those intense eyes back to me, and I felt pinned in place. You asked for help. I'm giving it to you. You can accept it, or you can stay here and wait for him to come back. But decide now. Why are you doing this? You don't know me. Something flickered across his face, an emotion I couldn't quite read. I know enough. 2 minutes now. I should have been scared. This man had just destroyed my door and was telling me to go with him. But Derek would be back soon. And when he saw that door, I ran to the bedroom and grabbed a backpack, throwing in whatever I could reach. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, the jewelry box my grandmother had left me. My hands were still shaking so badly that I kept dropping things. Time's up! Kazuki appeared in the doorway. That's enough! We're leaving. But I need... He took the backpack from me and headed for the front door. Now, Emma. I followed him out into the hallway, my mind spinning. What was I doing? I'd just texted a wrong number, and now I was leaving my apartment with a strange man who'd kicked down my door. But as we reached the elevator, I looked back at my broken doorway and thought about Derek coming home to that, about what he'd do when he realized I was gone. Maybe this was a terrible decision, but it was my decision. For the first time in 3 years, I was choosing something for myself. Even if I had no idea who Kazuki Tanaka really was, or what I'd just gotten myself into, the elevator doors closed and I watched the numbers descend. Kazuki stood beside me, silent and still, but I could feel the tension radiating off him. How did you get here so fast? I finally asked. I was close. That's not an answer. His mouth quirked slightly, almost like he wanted to smile but had forgotten how. No, it's not. The elevator opened to the parking garage, and he guided me toward a black car that looked like it cost more than I'd make in 5 years, maybe 10. Get in. I hesitated, my hand on the door handle. This was it, the point of no return. If I got in this car, there was no pretending this was just a good Samaritan helping out. Something about this man, about the way he carried himself, the expensive suit, the watch, the car. Emma. He said my name like he'd said it 1,000 times before. Familiar and commanding all at once. He's going to realize you're gone soon. And when he does, Where do you think he'll go first? Sarah. Oh God, Sarah. I pulled out my phone and sent her a quick text to the right number this time. Don't come to my apartment. I'm okay. I'll explain later. If Derek contacts you, you haven't heard from me. Then I got in the car. Kazuki slid into the driver's seat and pulled out of the garage so smoothly I barely felt the acceleration. But I watched the speedometer climb as we merged onto the highway, well above the speed limit. Where are we going? I asked. Somewhere safe. That's not an answer. I know. He glanced at me briefly before returning his eyes to the road. I have a property outside the city. Secure. Private. He won't find you there. And then what? Then we figure out what to do about your problem. Derek isn't your problem to solve. He became my problem the moment you texted me asking for help. The way he said it, so matter of fact, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Like he just went around rescuing women who accidentally texted him. This doesn't make any sense, I said, more to myself than to him. People don't just do this. You don't even know me. I know enough. You keep saying that, but what does that even mean? He was quiet for a long moment, his hands steady on the wheel as we drove through the dark streets. The city lights blurred past us, and I realized I had no idea what time it was. How long had it been since Derek hit me? An hour? 2? I know what desperation looks like, Kazuki finally said. I know what it sounds like when someone has run out of options. And I know what happens when people like him. He said the word with such contempt it made me shiver. Don't face consequences for their actions. There was a story there, a dark one, but I was too exhausted to ask. We drove for another 20 minutes in silence. The buildings grew sparser, replaced by trees and darkness. Finally, Kazuki turned down a long, private drive that opened up to reveal a house that made my apartment look like a closet. It was modern, all clean lines and huge windows, perched on what looked like several acres of wooded property. Security lights flickered on as we approached. You live here? I asked. Sometimes. He parked in front of the garage and came around to open my door before I could do it myself. Old-fashioned manners from a man who'd kicked down a door 10 minutes after getting a text from a stranger. Nothing about this made sense. Inside, the house was even more impressive. Minimalist furniture, expensive art on the walls, everything perfectly placed. It looked like a photo from an architecture magazine. Guest room is upstairs, second door on the right, Kazuki said, setting my backpack down. Bathroom is attached. There should be anything you need in there. Thank you, I said quietly. I don't know why you're doing this, but thank you. He studied me for a moment, his dark eyes unreadable. Get some rest. We'll talk in the morning. I nodded and headed for the stairs, my body aching with every step. But at the landing, I turned back. Kazuki was standing exactly where I'd left him, watching me with that same intense expression. Who are you? I asked. Really? Someone who answers when people ask for help. That's not an answer either. This time he did smile, just barely. No, it's not. Good night, Emma. I went upstairs and found the guest room exactly where he'd said it would be. The bed was enormous, covered in white linens that looked like they'd never been used. The bathroom had a soaking tub and a shower that could fit 4 people. I caught sight of myself in the mirror and immediately wished I hadn't. My cheek was swollen, a bruise already forming, my throat had red marks in the distinct shape of fingers, my lip was split. I looked exactly like what I was, a woman who'd been beaten by someone who claimed to love her. The tears came then, hot and fast. I slid down onto the cool tile floor and let myself fall apart, sobbing into my hands until my chest ached and my throat was raw. What had I done? I'd run away with a stranger. I'd left everything behind. Derek would be furious. He'd come looking for me. He always did. But even as fear tried to claw its way back in, something else flickered beneath it. Relief. For the first time in 3 years, Derek didn't know where I was. He couldn't get to me. I was behind a locked door in a house I didn't know, with a man I'd never met, and somehow I felt safer than I had in years. I pulled myself up from the floor and turned on the shower, letting the water get as hot as I could stand. Then I stood under the spray and watched 3 years of fear and pain swirl down the drain. Tomorrow I'd figure out who Kazuki Tanaka really was. Tomorrow I'd figure out what to do about Derek. Tomorrow I'd face the consequences of every choice I'd made tonight. But tonight, for just a few hours, I was going to let myself feel safe. I woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the smell of coffee. For one blissful moment, I forgot where I was. Then everything came rushing back. Derek, the text, Kazuki, the broken door, this house. I pulled on the same clothes from yesterday and padded downstairs barefoot, following the scent of coffee to a kitchen that was all marble countertops and stainless steel appliances. Kazuki stood at the stove, his back to me, cooking something that smelled incredible. He traded the expensive suit for dark jeans and a black t-shirt that showed off the kind of build that didn't come from a casual gym membership. "Good morning," he said without turning around. "Coffee's in the pot, mugs in the cabinet above it." How did he know I was there? I hadn't made a sound. I poured myself a cup and stood awkwardly by the counter, unsure what the protocol was for morning after being rescued situations. "How did you sleep?" He plated what looked like a traditional Japanese breakfast rice, grilled fish, miso soup, pickled vegetables. Better than I have in a long time. It was true. Despite everything, I'd slept like the dead. He set the plate in front of me along with chopsticks, then made one for himself and sat across the kitchen island. We ate in silence for a few minutes, and I tried not to think about how domestic this felt, how normal, despite nothing about this situation being normal. "We need to talk about Derek," Kazuki finally said. My appetite vanished. "I know. Has he tried to contact you?" I pulled out my phone and immediately wished I hadn't. 47 missed calls. 63 text messages. The most recent one was from 20 minutes ago. "I know you're reading these. You can't hide from me forever, bitch. You're mine." My hand started shaking again. Kazuki reached across and gently took the phone from me, his eyes scanning the messages. His expression darkened with each one he read. "He's escalating," he said quietly. "He always does this. Gets angry, threatens me, then tomorrow he'll send flowers and apologize and promise to change," and my voice cracked. "And you don't have to deal with it anymore." "You don't understand. Derek isn't going to just give up. He'll find me. He always finds me. I tried to leave once before, and I stopped, not wanting to finish that sentence." "What did he do?" I looked down at my plate. "He found me at my sister's house. Told her I was having a mental breakdown and needed help. She believed him. Everyone always believes him. He's charming when he wants to be. Good looking. Successful. No one sees what he's really like until it's too late." I see it. The certainty in his voice made me look up. Kazuki was watching me with those intense, dark eyes, and I felt something shift in my chest. "Why?" I asked. "Why do you care? You don't know me. This isn't your problem." He set his chopsticks down carefully, precisely, like everything he did. "My mother was in a relationship like yours. For years, she stayed because she thought she had no other choice. No money, no family support, nowhere to go." "What happened to her?" "My father, my real father, not the man she was with, found out. He was. Let's say he had the resources to solve the problem." Kazuki's expression was carefully neutral. "The man who hurt her never bothered her again." There was a weight to those words that made me shiver. "Your father sounds intense." "He was." Kazuki picked up his chopsticks again. "He died when I was 16, but he taught me that men who hurt women are the worst kind of cowards. And cowards only understand one thing." "What's that?" He met my eyes. "Consequences." My phone buzzed on the counter between us. Derek's name flashed across the screen. Kazuki glanced at it, then back at me. "Do you want me to handle this?" "What does that mean?" "It means I can make this go away. Legally," he added, catching my expression. "I have lawyers who specialize in protection orders, harassment cases. I can make sure he can't contact you, can't come near you. Derek doesn't care about restraining orders. He'll care when he understands the alternative." That dangerous edge was back in Kazuki's voice, the one that made me think there was a lot more to his story than he was telling me. "Who are you really?" I asked again. "And don't give me that someone who helps people answer. People don't just have lawyers on retainer for harassment cases. They don't have houses like this. They don't move the way you move, like you're always ready for something bad to happen." He was quiet for a long moment, and I thought he might not answer at all. Then he stood and walked to the window, looking out at the woods surrounding the house. "My father's family has been in Seattle for 3 generations. They're involved in various businesses. Some legitimate, some less so." He turned back to me. "I grew up in that world, learned young that there are people who take what they want without caring who they hurt, and that sometimes the law isn't enough to stop them." "Various businesses," I repeated. I'm not a good man, Emma. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but I'm good at dealing with men like Derek." My mind was racing. The expensive house, the way he'd appeared in 10 minutes, the casual mention of having lawyers on retainer, the suit, the watch, the car, the Yakuza, I said quietly. He didn't confirm or deny it. Does that scare you? It should have. I should have been terrified. I'd traded one dangerous man for another, possibly more dangerous one. But when I looked at Kazuki, I didn't feel afraid. I felt safe, protected. Like for the first time in 3 years, someone was on my side. No, I said honestly. It doesn't scare me. Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or respect. Then let me help you. Really help you. Not just hide you here for a few days until he finds you again. Let me make this stop. Why? I whispered. Why do you care so much? He crossed back to me, and suddenly he was right there, close enough that I could see the flecks of amber in his dark eyes. Because when I read those texts last night, all I could think about was my mother. About how she sounded when she was scared. About how no one helped her until it was almost too late. His jaw tightened. I won't let that happen to you. My phone buzzed again. And again. Derek was calling repeatedly now, each call more insistent than the last. Make it stop, I said. Please, I'm so tired of being scared. Kazuki picked up my phone and answered the call, his eyes never leaving mine. This is Kazuki Tanaka. Emma is under my protection now. If you attempt to contact her again, if you go near her, if you even think about her, you'll deal with me. Do you understand? I couldn't hear Derek's response, but I saw Kazuki's expression darken. I don't care what you think your rights are. She's done with you. Move on, or I'll make you move on. And trust me, you don't want me to do that. He ended the call and blocked the number, then handed the phone back to me. He's going to be angry, I said, my voice shaking. Let him be angry. He can't touch you here. And by tomorrow, he'll have a restraining order and enough legal problems to keep him busy. Kazuki tilted my chin up gently, forcing me to meet his eyes. I promise you, Emma, this is over. You're safe now. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly. What if he doesn't stop? Then I'll handle it. The certainty in his voice, the absolute conviction, made something warm bloom in my chest. When was the last time someone had protected me? Had put themselves between me and danger? I don't know how to repay you for this, I said. I don't want repayment. He dropped his hand from my chin, but stayed close. I want you to feel safe again. I want you to remember what it's like to not flinch when someone moves too fast. I want you to stop looking at the door like you're calculating escape routes. How did you donerate? Because you've been doing it since you walked into this kitchen. Old habits from living with a predator. He was right. I hadn't even realized I was doing it. It's going to take time, he said gently. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but you're not alone anymore. Remember that. Over the next few days, I started to believe him. Kazuki's lawyers moved fast. Derek was served with a restraining order and a cease and desist letter. His phone calls stopped. The texts stopped. For the first time in 3 years, my phone was silent. Kazuki gave me space, but was always nearby if I needed him. He worked from home, disappeared into his office for hours at a time, but always emerged for meals. We fell into an easy routine breakfast together, quiet afternoons, dinner where we actually talked. I learned he was 34, that he'd taken over his father's business interests when he died, that he was trying to move everything legitimate. My father built an empire, he told me one night over wine, but empires built on fear eventually crumble. I want to build something that lasts. He learned I was 26, that I'd been a graphic designer before Derek isolated me from my career, that I missed creating things. The next day, he had a drawing tablet and professional software installed in the guest room. You should do what makes you happy, he said simply. It had been so long since anyone asked me what made me happy. 2 weeks passed, then 3. I started sleeping without nightmares, started not jumping at every sound. Started remembering what it felt like to breathe without fear crushing my chest. And somewhere in those quiet mornings and comfortable silences, something shifted between us. I'd catch Kazuki watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. His hand would linger when he passed me my coffee. He stood just a little too close when we cooked together, our shoulders brushing. I told myself it was gratitude I felt. He'd saved me, given me a safe place to heal. Of course I felt drawn to him. But it was more than that, and I knew it. It was the way he listened when I talked, really listened, like every word mattered. It was the way he touched me carefully, gently, always asking permission with his eyes first. It was the way he made me feel seen for the first time in years. Not as Derek's girlfriend, not as a victim, but as Emma. Just Emma. What are you thinking about? Kazuki asked one evening. We were sitting on the back deck, watching the sun set through the trees. How strange this all is, I admitted. A month ago, I thought my life was over. I thought I'd never escape Derek. And now I'm here, drinking wine with a man I texted by accident, and I feel more like myself than I have in years. Is that a good thing? It's terrifying, I said honestly, because I don't know what happens next. I can't stay here forever. Eventually, I'll have to face the real world again. Get a job, find a place to live, figure out who I am without Derek. You don't have to rush that. I can't hide here forever, Kazuki. Who says you're hiding? He turned to face me, his expression serious. Maybe you're just taking time to heal. There's a difference. Your lawyers must cost a fortune. The food, the security, this house I can't keep taking from you. You're not taking anything. I'm giving it freely. But why? I set my wine glass down. I still don't understand why you've done all this for me. And don't say it's because of your mother. This is more than that. He was quiet for so long I thought he might not answer. Then he stood and walked to the railing, his back to me. Do you know what I thought when I read your first text? He asked quietly. I thought about all the times I heard my mother cry and couldn't help her because I was just a kid. I thought about how she sounded when she finally got free and realized she could breathe again. He turned back to me. When I read your messages, I heard my mother's voice. And I thought, here's someone I can help. Here's someone I can actually save. I'm not your mother, Kazuki. I know that. He moved closer and my heart started beating faster. Believe me, Emma, I know that because what I feel when I look at you has nothing to do with my mother. The air between us felt electric suddenly, charged with something I'd been trying to ignore for weeks. What do you feel? I whispered. He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away, and cupped my face in his hand. His thumb traced gently over my cheekbone, where the bruise had finally faded. I feel like I want to know everything about you. What you dream about, what makes you laugh, what you look like when you first wake up. His voice was rough. I feel like I want to kill anyone who ever hurt you and then spend the rest of my life making sure no one ever hurts you again. That's a lot of feelings, I said, trying to lighten the moment even as my heart raced. His mouth quirked. I'm not good at half measures. I've noticed. We stood there for a long moment, his hand still on my face, my heart pounding so hard I was sure he could hear it. This was dangerous. I'd just gotten out of one relationship. I was broken, damaged, still healing. This was the worst possible time to fall for someone. Especially someone like Kazuki, who lived in a world I didn't understand, whose kindness came with its own kind of danger. But God help me, I was falling anyway. I should go inside, I said, even though moving was the last thing I wanted to do. Should you? His thumb traced my lower lip so gentle it made me shiver. This is a bad idea. Probably. I'm not ready for this. I know. But he didn't move away. Neither did I. Kazuki. He kissed me. It was soft, tentative, nothing like Derek's demanding, possessive kisses. Kazuki kissed me like I was something precious, something that might break if he wasn't careful. His hand cradled my face while his other arm wrapped around my waist, holding me close but not trapping me. I could pull away at any moment. I didn't want to pull away. I kissed him back, my hands fisting in his shirt, and felt 3 years of fear and pain and loneliness crack open inside me. This was what kissing was supposed to feel like. Not a claim of ownership, but a question. Not taking, but giving. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Emma, he said softly. I need you to understand something. I'm not a good man. I've done things. He stopped, his jaw tightening. I'm not Derek. I would never hurt you. But my world is dangerous, and I don't want you to get caught up in it thinking I'm some kind of hero. I'm not. I know who you are, I said. Or at least, I know enough. And I'm still here. Why? Because when you look at me, you see me. Not what you want me to be, not what you can take from me, just me. I touched his face, mirroring how he'd held mine. That's more than I've had in a very long time. He caught my hand and pressed a kiss to my palm, and something in his expression made my chest ache. Stay, he said. Not because you need protection, not because you have nowhere else to go. Stay because you want to be here. What are you asking me, Kazuki? I'm asking if you'll give this whatever this is between us a chance. No pressure, no expectations, just stay. Get to know me. Let me get to know you. See where it goes. It was crazy. We barely knew each other. He'd literally kicked down my door a month ago. I was still healing from 3 years of abuse. But when I looked at him, I didn't see danger. I saw safety, strength, someone who would stand between me and the world if I needed him to. Someone who already had, okay, I whispered. I'll stay. The smile that crossed his face was like sunrise, warm and genuine and so beautiful it took my breath away. Okay, he echoed and kissed me again. 6 months later, I stood in Kazuki's kitchen, our kitchen now, watching him cook breakfast while rain pattered against the windows. I'd moved in officially 3 months ago, started taking freelance graphic design jobs, reconnected with Sarah and my sister, started therapy to work through everything Derek had done. Derek himself had violated the restraining order once, showing up drunk at my old apartment. Kazuki's security team had been waiting. Whatever they'd said to him, whatever they'd shown him, Derek had left Seattle the next day. I'd heard through Sarah that he'd moved to California. I didn't ask Kazuki what happened. Some things I was better off not knowing. But I knew this. I felt safe. For the first time in years, I felt completely, utterly safe. "What are you thinking about?" Kazuki asked, catching me watching him. "How different my life is now. How I almost didn't text you. But you did." He crossed to me and pulled me into his arms. "You asked for help, and somehow, impossibly, you found me. Best wrong number I ever texted." He laughed, and I felt it rumble through his chest. "I've been thinking," he said, "about the future, about us." My heart skipped. "Oh? I want you to have your own space. Not here, this is my place, my world. I want you to have something that's yours. A studio, maybe, for your design work. Or a house, if you want. Something that's yours and yours alone, so you never feel trapped again." Tears stung my eyes. "Kazuki, and I want to take you to Japan. Meet my mother. See where I grew up. I want you to know all of me, not just the parts I show the world." "Why?" He cupped my face in his hands, his thumbs wiping away the tears that had started to fall. "Because I love you, Emma. I fell in love with you the moment you fought back, even though you were terrified. I fell in love with you every time you smiled, like you'd forgotten how. I fell in love with your strength, your resilience, the way you chose to heal instead of break." He kissed my forehead, my cheeks, the tip of my nose. "I love you, and I want a future with you, whatever that looks like, however long it takes." "I love you too," I whispered. "I didn't think I'd ever feel this again. Didn't think I deserved to. But you make me feel like I can have everything I thought I'd lost." "You can. You will." He kissed me then, deep and slow and full of promise. I'll spend the rest of my life making sure of it. Later, as we sat together in the window seat and watched the rain, I thought about that desperate text I'd sent 6 months ago. How I'd mistyped one number and accidentally found the person I was meant to find all along. How sometimes the wrong number turns out to be exactly right. "Thank you," I said quietly. "For what?" "For kicking down my door," I smiled up at him. "For answering a stranger's text. For giving me a reason to believe in happy endings again." Kazuki kissed the top of my head and pulled me closer. "Thank you for texting me," he said. "For asking for help. For being brave enough to leave. For giving me a chance when you had every reason not to. Best mistake I ever made. No," he said, his arms tightening around me. "Best decision. You chose to ask for help. You chose to take my hand. You chose to stay. Every step of the way, you chose yourself." He was right. I had chosen. Maybe the first text was a mistake, but everything after that, leaving with him, staying, healing, opening my heart again, those were all choices. And I would choose him. Choose this. Choose us. Every single time. Outside, the rain fell softly, washing everything clean. And inside, wrapped in the arms of the man who'd saved me, who I'd saved right back, I felt finally, completely home.